You know, sometimes you just gotta shake things up a bit. Well, that was our thinking with this series. So we asked a bunch of the artists who've been on several of the reunions to ask someone to join them who had never been to a Country's Family reunion. And wow, they did not disappoint. New faces, some of your favorite artists from shows past, all sharing great new songs and stories. And more importantly, themselves. When the cameras get rolling, these friends forget they're being taped, and the end result, well, it's magic. Yes, sir, we wanted to shake things up and let things roll. Well, that's exactly what we got with this show. We're calling it Kickin' Back. So why don't you do the same? Kick back and relax as we present Country's Family Reunion, Kickin' Back.
Special family reunion. It was 20 years ago in 1997 that we gathered for the first time. Jeannie Seeley, I think you and I are the only ones in the room that were here on the very first show, and I guess we've been here for all of them.
They can't get rid of us.
Oh, and the band. Oh, and of course the band. The band. No, we don't take you for granted. You've been here and you've done a wonderful job. Mike Johnson has been the band leader for the entire 20 years. Today, our show is called Kickin' Back, and as Larry told you on the beginning, it's a fun day with people bringing friends with them to enjoy the music and to add to it. Everybody that's brought somebody has been here before, and the new ones have not been here before. And we just welcome everybody. We're just going to kick back and have a little fun. I doubt there's anybody here that knows that Carl Jackson up here is the godfather. He is the godfather of that pretty lady sitting next to him with the banjo. Now explain this, Carl.
This is true. Well, that's one of the proudest moments of my life right there to be her godfather. That's Miss Ashley Campbell. She's the daughter of the great Glen Campbell and my goddaughter, and I am very, very proud of her. Love her very much, and she is so talented.
Well, now, who selects the godfather? I mean, obviously, Ashley didn't.
It was a godfather above, I think. It was a. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Well, what are your duties as Ashley's godfather?
You'll have to ask her that. I don't know.
Does he remember all your birthdays?
He does. He does remember my birthdays.
Special occasions?
She remembers mine, too, which is really cool.
He does.
So you send each other expensive presents and stuff?
Well, yeah.
That's something we should definitely start.
We should start that. Yeah, we should start.
Well, Carl Jackson with his guitar, Ashley Campbell with the banjo. I don't know how many of you know it, but Carl worked with the great Glen Campbell for like 12 or 13 years and shared some great music and some great moments with him. And this is probably Glen's best-known song.
This is the one that got it all going.
The one that got it all rolling, called Gentle on My Mind. The Godfather, Carl Jackson, and Ashley Campbell.
It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk. That makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. And it's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and bonds, or the ink stains that have dried upon the sunline. That keeps you on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, that keeps you ever gentle on my mind. Well, it's not clinging to the rocks and ivy planted on their columns down that bind me. or something that somebody said because they thought we fit together walking. It's just knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiving when I walk along some railroad track and find that you're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, and for hours you're just gentle on my mind. Though the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between, and some other woman's crying to her mother 'cause she turned and I was gone, I still might run in silence, tears of joy might stain my face, and the summer sun might burn me till I'm dry, but not to where I cannot see you walking on the back roads by the rivers flowing gentle on my mind. Well, I dipped my cup of soup back from a gurgling, crackling cauldron in some train yard. My beard a rough and coal pile and a dirty hat pulled low across my face. Through cut hands round the tin can, I pretend to hold you to my breast and fight. That you're waving from the back roads by the rivers of my memory, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind, on my mind.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
That's great. What a great way to start off our show.
Play that thing, can't she?
She sure can. She pretty, too.
Just a bit.
She had a good teacher,
You
Carl.
got a lot of your dad's look about you. Do you hear
Features,
that from
yes.
people? They tell you favor your
I
dad?
do, yeah. I'm glad of it.
How many children did Glen have altogether?
8.
8 and you're where in the lineup?
I'm the caboose.
You're number 8?
Yeah.
Are you the only one that's really pursuing a full-time career in the music business?
No, actually, my brothers Cal and Shannon play music, and my brother Dylan's an artist as well. So
They're all a talented bunch.
I beg your pardon?
They're a talented bunch.
I guess they are. Well, the apples don't fall far from the tree in that case,
They don't.
do they?
Bill, the first time I saw Cal, the little brother, we were doing a show at the Opry House, and Glen and Kim Cal was asleep in the Ovation guitar case in the dressing room right there doing
Sleeping ovation.
Asleep. Yeah, it's asleep. But of all the things, your pop, we all love him so much. I still wear the orange band that y'all gave me when they did the tribute, the DVD of him. But I got to tell you one story you don't know. We were playing golf in Las Vegas one time, and it was at that time the brothers and I had a golf tournament in Dallas to benefit muscular dystrophy. And we'd asked your pop to come, and he had come to a couple of them. But we were in Vegas, and he said, we played about the third or fourth hole, and he said, said, you didn't invite me to your golf tournament this year. And I said, well, Glen, I said, I know you get invited to 100 golf tournaments a year. And I said, I know how I am. You hate to say no to people. I said, I didn't want you to feel obligated that you had to do it. And he said something really mystical. He said, you cheated me out of a chance to be a blessing.
Whoa.
How's that? How's that? So that's the kind
Can you pause long enough for me to write that down? You cheated me.
I've already got the bridge. But that's the way he felt about it. He wanted to come give of that immense talent. And you know how we've had 1,000 golf tournaments, and we try to go and do, but that's something that I'll always remember of your pop, and means a lot
Bill.
to me.
Speaking of blessings,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Jeannie.
I was just going to say something fun that y'all might want to. I told Ashley about this the other night at the Opry, but you might want to go to YouTube and Google the Hollywood Jamboree. And there's a performance of Glen Campbell, Delaney Bramlett, and me singing Blowing in the Wind. And you got to see the end of it if you do, because that was early television, and they didn't like you to have that blank look at the end of your song, and they couldn't seem to get the cameras off, so they told us to bow our head. And the three of us looked like somebody just hypnotized us. The answer is Blowing in the Wind, and we all went. It is hilarious. You've got to see it.
Like fainting goats.
I remember when Glen co-hosted a show in Canada. I don't know if any of y'all remember this. He was like a featured vocalist on a show called Star Route. Back in the 60s. Rod Cameron, the movie star, was like the MC of the show, and Glen was like the featured performer. And I went there for a guest spot one time to Toronto, and I'd had out a song about a prison called 99 Years. And they wanted Glen Campbell to sing 99 Years, and they built a jail cell right there in the TV studio, bars on the windows. And the first time I ever heard Glen Campbell sing a Bill Anderson song, he was in jail singing through that little window. But he was talented then and talented throughout his life, and so great that you're carrying it on. I think you're going to do a song, and aren't you bringing somebody else out to join you?
Yeah.
We're going to have Miss Ronda Vincent get up here and sing this song with us, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of, while she's getting her guitar on there, Bill, speaking of blessings, I can't say enough good things about Glen Campbell. He certainly showered many of those blessings on me, believe me. And I just want to say that publicly. I think he's the greatest singer I've ever heard in my life. Period.
How did
one
you
of the
connect
finest
with
people.
him to begin with? Because he was in California and you're from Mississippi.
It's a bit of a long story. I can tell it, but it's it'll
It's just tape.
do the short version or just tell it.
Tell it.
Well, I was in Columbus, Ohio, and had started a group with my dear friend Keith Whitley, Bill Rollins, and Jimmy Goodrow called The Country Store. And Keith and I noticed in the paper that Glen Campbell was going to be at the Ohio State Fair. And we both loved him. We had to go see him. So we did, and I will shorten it a little bit. We went and seen the show, was completely blown away. And as we're walking to our car at the end of the night, I glanced over to the left, and I saw behind the roped-off area there was Larry McNeely standing there, who, Ricky, I know you're familiar with. He played banjo with Roy Acuff before Glen. And I decided I'd go over and say hello. So I walked over and stuck out my hand and said, Larry, I'm Carl Jackson. Just wanted to tell you it was a great show. And he went, Carl Jackson? He said, man, I know you. He said, I love your playing. What are you doing here? So I gave him the whole spiel of why I was there. And he said, would you come by tomorrow, man? Let's pick some, And I said, okay, do that. And so I did. And when I got there the next day, Larry started, we played a few things, but then he started asking me, can you play this? Or can you play this song? Can you play, Rocky Top? Can you play, it got a little harder. Can you play Little Rock Getaway? Can you play a few things like that? And I answered yes, and we played a little bit back and forth. And all of a sudden, he just looked up and he went, would you like to have this job? Wow. I'm serious. Wow. That's a quote. It's exactly what he said. And I was like, yeah. Because literally, and I could show you these. I should have brought them. But in my yearbooks, in high school, several of the kids wrote, see young Glen Campbell one day. Because, I mean, I played banjo. John Hartford and Larry McNeely would stand up in the audience on the Good Time Hour, and so they put all this together. Well, next thing I know, Larry's going, I'll be back in a minute or two. He comes back and he grabs me and takes me over to the trailer next door, which were the dressing rooms at the Ohio State Fair. And there sat my hero, Glen Campbell. And he kind of put me through the same test that Larry did. So you play banjo? Yeah, I play banjo. And he asked me to play several things. And Little Rock Getaway, again, being one of them. And the standards, Foggy Mountain Breakdown, Rocky Top, whatever. And then he said, well, do you play guitar? And I said, yeah, I'll play a little bit. And at the time, it's like I had studied his records. I could play those solos then. I don't know if I can play them now anymore. But and he said, he finally asked me to play the Claw. He said, do you know the Claw, which was a Jerry Reed tune? I said, yeah. He said, well, play me that. So I played him that. Next thing he asked me, he said, how much you want to make? And I was 18, and I said, $1 million. And he said, well, you go home, get your stuff together, and we'll call you in about a week or so, and we're heading to Australia soon. I want you to go with us.
Wow.
And 12 of the best years of my life spent with that guy.
And Larry was retiring, Larry
McNeely
McNeely?
just didn't want to do the road anymore, and he had been looking for somebody to replace him, and that's what he told me. He said, I've been looking for somebody. You can do it.
Wow.
So that's how it happened.
Was he a good boss? Was Glen a good boss?
The best. I mean, there were some times, nothing to do with being a good boss, but, there were some tough times we went through later on, but not between me and him. It was just things that Glen, he got through those tough times. And through it all, we loved each other very much. And he was a great boss and a great man.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah. And I love that one.
Well, I think she kind of likes you too, I can tell. Ashley, what about a song? Is this something that you've written that you're going to do?
Yes. So this is a song that I wrote last year, and I just recorded my first album a couple months ago, and it's being mixed right now. And so this song is on there. And I asked Carl if he would play a second acoustic part to mine on the record, and he said yes, and he sang some harmonies. And this is one of my favorite songs to sing. It's called I Wish I Wanted To. And it's
a great song.
Oh,
yes, I love this song.
I played it on the Opry a couple times. But yeah, it's kind of a after breakup song. It's that moving on. But sometimes you kind of have to force yourself to get out of the house. You still don't want to, so that's why it's called I Wish I Wanted To.
All right.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on my makeup, put a smile in my eye. I'm gonna put on my new dress and show it off tonight. I wish I wanted to. I'm gonna put my phone down, try not to call it off. Gonna meet him at the front door and try to make small talk. I wish I wanted to. I wish I wanted to. 'Cause I want to believe there's still some magic for me. And when I let my hair fall down around my shoulders, I'm gonna close my eyes and lean a little closer. And when he goes to kiss the whiskey off my lips, I won't be missing you like this. I'm gonna say I wanna take it slow before this night ends. And I'm gonna say I'd love to see him again. I wish I wanted to. I wish I wanted to. 'Cause I want to believe there's still some magic for me. And when I let my hair fall down around my shoulders,
That's great, Ashley. That's
Thank you.
terrific. Now, your dad, he didn't write a lot of songs, did he?
Not a lot. He wrote a couple, but he mainly he called himself a song doctor.
Take them and make them fit himself.
Like when he heard Galveston on the radio, it was a ballad. I think was it Don Ho that sang it?
I think so.
Tiny bubbles.
Johnny Rivers, by the time I get to Phoenix, you know, he was a song doctor.
Yeah, he would hear stuff and go, I know how to make this Glen Campbellized.
Well, he could have sung the alphabet, and I'd have listened to it.
Yeah.
You were absolutely right.
Just with that voice. Bill, one time long ago, Gene Watson, I asked, I said I'd give up one of my songs if Gene would sing Bitter They Are. Remember, and he did. I'll give up one of my songs, or all of them. Would you sing part of the Remembering song
Oh, sure.
that you wrote for your dad?
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope I'm not out of, I won't say anything else.
Just
Rhonda, by the way, your part was beautiful on there. That added to the trio sound and the mandolin. Great job.
This young lady sang this on of course, I cry at garage sales. I mean, if it's a good garage sale, it has to be. But I almost literally wept when I heard this tribute that she for her daddy, and I'll give it all of my songs today if you'll sing that.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks. Yeah, this is a song that I put it out in 2015 as a single, along with the documentary on my dad, Glen Campbell, I'll Be Me. And I wrote this song when I first moved to Nashville because we had just gotten off tour with my dad, and he was starting to decline with his Alzheimer's disease. And I knew that there was going to be a time where he wouldn't recognize me pretty soon, that he wouldn't know who I was. And so, you know, we've always had a really special connection, so I wanted to have something that would maybe be able to reach out to him even when he can't really understand words anymore. And that's definitely music. So this is kind of a song from me to him saying that I'll always have his back. It's called Remembering.
Don't forget our store down below where you can get Country's Family Reunion and Larry's Country Diner product.
Up the stairs to your bed. Thunder rolls and I pull the covers over my head. You say it's just a storm, enjoy the show. You take me to the window and you show me that it's beautiful. Never had to ask you to sing for me. It's just the way you put me at ease. Bone for bone, we are the same. Bones get tired and they can't carry all the weight. We can talk until you can't even remember my name. Daddy, don't you worry, I'll do the remembering. Daddy, don't you worry, I'll do the remembering. First guitar and I just wasn't getting it right. You showed me how to play and said it doesn't happen overnight. And in a couple of years I come home and show you how I play Blackbird. And though I miss a couple notes, you still say that it was the best you'd ever heard. Never had to ask you to smile for me. It's just the way you put me at ease. Bone for bone, we are the same. Bones get tired and they can't carry all the weight. We can talk until you can't even remember my name. Daddy, don't you worry, I'll do the remembering. Daddy, don't you worry, I'll do the remembering. Now I have to ask you to sing for me, and I have to show you the words to sing. You're standing right in front of me and slipping away. Bone for bone, we are the same. Bones get tired and they can't carry all the weight. We can talk until you can't even remember my name. Daddy, don't you worry, I'll do the remembering. Daddy, don't you worry, I'll do the remembering.
Mary, thank you for asking her to do that. Ashley, that's beautiful. Thank you. Wasn't rehearsed, and Carl just jumped right in there. Thank you all for being here today. Carl, thank you for bringing Ashley and
Thank you for
kicking
having
back
us.
with us.
Thank you
here
for having us.
On
We're
Family
proud to be
Reunion.
here.
You're terrific, Ashley. Much good luck to you. So many special friends gathered in the room. I want to especially welcome my buddy Rory Feek. Rory, we hadn't seen you in a while, pal. It's good to have you sitting back here in the circle with us.
It's good to be here with you.
Now, you can add to all of your accolades, hit songwriter, all the things you've done in your life, and now you're a best-selling author.
That's what they tell me. Yes, sir.
You're probably the only one in the room that's ever had a book on the New York Times bestseller list. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You have brought somebody special here today, and I want you to introduce them. Although we know them, introduce them to our audience.
Sure. Well, when Larry and everyone asked me if I would come, I said, well, and they said you needed to bring somebody. Since I'm not performing right now, and I just wanted to be here and be part of it, I thought I'd bring somebody else who's on hiatus also. So I brought Randy Travis and his wife, Mary.
You couldn't have done better. You couldn't have. Randy, great to see you, buddy. Good to see that smile, and good to have you sitting here with us. Mary, you guys ever sit around and watch Family Reunion at home?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And he always gets such a kick out of it. So when Rory had asked us, I thought, what an opportunity for him to get to be around his, friends and the music and the old stories. He used to tell me a lot of the old stories, and like I tell people, I wished I'd listened faster. Because when the story stopped after the stroke, I wish that I had heard more of them. And so I knew that with him sitting around talking to everybody and telling stories, I know Larry's told us some good ones over the years, but
well, don't believe anything Larry told you. But you guys just gonna hang in here with us all day, I hope.
Yes,
and,
yes, we were
we'll have lunch. And,
we were so blessed that Rory called and asked us. So it's a great honor to be here with everyone.
Rory, what you say you're not currently performing? What kind of plans do you have as far as the music and everything?
I don't have any plans. It's been about 1.5 years since Joey and I were on stage together, and so for me, it just felt right to put down the guitar and just, if I'm gonna move on, I don't really feel like singing without her or writing songs or anything. So I don't know what's in store. I just know that's kind of where I am now, and God's opened doors for us to do some other things, especially to be a dad again, to be a papa. So we have our 3-year-old that I'm raising, and that's taking, the majority of my time, and I'm thankful for it.
You're still out at the farm.
I'm at the farm.
What about the meal house, Marcy's meal? The restaurant.
The restaurant's going really well, and the farmhouse is really really doing well. So I'm just trying my best to get my footing. It's been about a year now since Joey passed away, and still hard for me to believe. We listened, my brother-in-law rode in with me today, and we listened to some music coming in, and I just mostly just shake my head. I mean, we're all that way when you lose someone. It's hard to believe. But this kind of a show is one of those things that that helps, because it captures these people that we love. You were doing this 20 years ago, and the group of people that were on all those shows, a number of them aren't here anymore, and you've captured it forever, not just for us, but for their families and for generations of country music fans that haven't even been born yet, which is pretty cool.
Well, we've all hurt with you and for you.
Thank you.
And Bill,
it's good to see you back here and good to see a smile on your face. Yeah.
you have heard what he's doing with the barn now, which I thought was wonderful. I guess we can talk about that.
Sure. Well, the barn's been empty. Our concert hall, where Joey and I filmed the TV show and did concerts, has been empty for about a year and a half or two. So a local cowboy church down the road didn't have anywhere to meet, so there's a bunch of cowboys in there on Sunday mornings now. So I just take my baby's hand and walk across the driveway to church now. It's pretty special.
That's terrific. That is terrific. So is little Miss Indy taking it in and brightening your life every morning, I'm sure.
It's incredible. She just learned to walk. I wish I could have brought her today, but she's in school.
He's walking.
Yeah, she's walking somewhat. She's very slow moving, but she's doing great.
Well, she has a standing invitation along with you to be with us anytime,
Thank
whether
you
you
very much.
sing or whether you don't. Thank you for being here.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Special friend to all of
Yeah,
us.
I want to come to
Rory
church
Feek.
down there.
Okay, you said you were going to give up your song, so I guess we'll move along.
Move right along. It's fine with me.
No, actually, tell me about this cowboy that you brought here today, because I think y'all are going to do something together.
About 5 or 6 years ago, I was in the Palm restaurant here in Nashville. I'd never met this young man. Of course, seen him on TV and heard the records. And he had that cowboy hat on. And I walked up to him, and I just said, stuck out my hand, I said, "Young man, you and your partner kind of shook things up around here, didn't you?" And he said, "Well, you and your partners did too." And what a gracious comment from a big star to an old has-been, never was, over the hill, whatever. And it started a friendship. I wasn't talking about you, I was talking about me. You know, self-deprecating. But from that moment, he was in there with the late, great Fred Thompson. They were having a meal, and he came out and got me, said, "Come in here and sing Houston for us." They had a little private room. They were doing a party. And that started a relationship. He called me. That's when Janice and I still lived in Nashville. Still lived in Austin. He said, "When can you come up here and write a song with me?" I said, "We're coming to Nashville tomorrow." And he took me, you know, the respect that he has for us geezers, you know, for the classic country music. Yeah, he and Kenny do it a little differently than we did, or than the Everly Brothers or other duets. But he took me under his wing. He loved me. He put me on shows. And I call him Little Brother. He walks into a room. It's like when Chris or Roger or John Cash used to walk in the room, and people turn and look. He has that magnetism. Great singer, great songwriter, great performer. And he's been like a little brother to me, and I love him. And when Larry said, "Bring somebody," I said, "I want to bring little brother John Rich."
Good.
Thank you for inviting me. Very kind. Yeah.
I thought instead of being here on family reunion today, I thought you'd be up in Washington helping them run the country.
I was there yesterday. I'm going back tomorrow.
What did you tell me about a cabinet position?
Yeah, well, you know, I was on Celebrity Apprentice, so I had no idea I was hanging out with the future president. You know, I hit him up. I said, "Hey, if you need anything from me, I'd like to put my name in there for head of the liquor cabinet. I think I'd be perfect at that job. You come to meet the president, stop by me first. Let's, you know, loosen up a little bit and head on in, you know." So.
All right, tell us something that you learned about our now president when he was doing The Apprentice, and you won, didn't you?
I won it. Yeah,
I was thinking that
I was
you
playing
did.
for St. Jude and called on a lot. I called on everybody in Nashville that I knew, and it wound up tallying up to $1.4 million on that season, and so I got to know Donald Trump and his kids and the whole thing. Which his kids do a lot of St. Jude stuff as well. And that's a big charity with country music, is St. Jude. But the president. I can't call him Mr. Trump, the president. He's kind of, what you see is kind of how he is on and off camera. He's consistently that way. I remember in an elevator, you're standing there, he's eating Tic Tacs all the time. Maybe that's something you don't know. He likes sausage pizzas and Tic Tacs. I did find that out. But like you're on the elevator with him and he's standing there and he's big too. He's a big old guy. And he'll kind of look down at you and go, "How's it going?" I go, "It's going good. How are you?" He goes, and he'll hit you in the ribs and go, "Hey, did you hear the one about the guy that walked into the bar?" And he'll tell you a joke. You better laugh. You better make sure you laugh loudly. Man, it's pretty wild to know I was on that show and was that close to all those people for that amount of time.
Of course, the duet that Larry was referring to is Big and Rich, you and Big Kenny Alpin. Did you ever know what Little Jimmy Dickens and I did after y'all first got together?
Was it?
Well, y'all were going around as Big and Rich. We booked ourselves as Little and Poe. We got a lot of mileage out of that, so thank you very much.
My pleasure, yeah. Yeah.
You guys are going to do a medley of Roger Miller songs?
Well, so Larry and I, when he told the story correct, that was incredible. He walked in, I went, "Larry Gatlin," because growing up in Amarillo, Texas, their music. I grew up Gene Watson and Ricky Skaggs, John Anderson, the Statlers, on and on and on. I remember I would go out and I worked on a hog farm in Amarillo at about 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, and I was the guy that would break open the old bread sacks and cut the tops off of the old discarded milk and make slop, basically. And it was $3 an hour, and so I would work like that and save up my money, and then I'd go down to Walmart and I would buy your record, his record, your record, y'all's record.
Hog money.
Yeah. And I would go in there and I'd buy a cassette for whatever it was, and I'd go back and sit there and learn every single thing I could. I had trouble learning Mr. Skaggs and stuff. I never got that good. But I tried. And so when I ran into Larry, it was just like bang, like a headlight, to me. And, "Hey, man, how you doing?" And they did shake things up. Larry Gatlin is arguably the biggest tornado that ever blew through Nashville. Right?
In West Texas.
Yeah, so our friendship started off writing a couple of songs, and then he said, "Man, who'd you grow up listening to?" And I started naming off a lot of these names. He said, "What about before that? Anybody before that?" I said, "Yeah, Tennessee Ernie Ford, Roger Miller, and Johnny Horton." He goes, "How on earth did you learn those songs?" I said, "That's what my dad had in his record collection." And then his dad, my granddaddy, was a World War II vet, and Johnny Horton was everything to him. So at 6 years old, I memorized the Dang Me album. I still know both sides of that album.
I don't think Roger ever memorized that
album. Lou's got the flu and he's laid up. I can still do all the songs. But I think a guy like Roger Miller is one of the guys that I never got to meet. If I could say who's somebody I wish I could have met, it would have been him. Is that his energy and the way he would attack a thought and come at you from an angle you never saw coming. To me, in Big and Rich, that's kind of, Big Kenny's a little like that, and I'm a little like that, and you put us together, and we're probably half of what Roger Miller was. But our music's got, I think, highlights in it, I think, that harken back to something like a Roger Miller. So we hit it off. We go back and forth for hours.
Well, I know Larry and Roger were good friends, as Roger and I were, and he would be very happy to hear you say that and be very honored and proud that you're going to say. You want to go up there in front of the
because
the band and do this?
We
Fancy
really
guitar
don't
you got
know,
there, John.
Thank you.
We really haven't planned.
Which side are you on,
Roger
Larry?
didn't either.
I'm on that side. So Big and Rich, and this is Rowdy and Rich, right?
There
Okay.
you go. Old geezer and...
And Mike Johnson, I just want to say, Mike Johnson is playing steel guitar on the new Big and Rich record and on our single on the radio right now, so your stuff's being heard all over the place. Today, so my favorite steel player, Big Country.
I have in my cell phone, I have a deal called Roger Millerisms. you could just do them, forever, the little thing. He used to call me Lorenzo, and he walked up one night, and it didn't matter whether I'd seen him 2 days earlier or 6 months. He would just walk up, and he said, one day, he said, Lorenzo. I said, what? He said, did you ever notice how much weight a chicken can gain and never show it in the face? I said, yeah, Raj, I've been thinking about that a lot here lately. And he'd walk up to me, he walked up to me one night, and whatever's on the top of his head, he'd just sing it, just one line, make up something, and then he'd stop and grin and wait and see if I could come up with. So one night he said, don't fall in love with anyone from Cleveland if they've been known to have strong family ties. He stopped and grinned, looked at me, and I said, if the doctor says you got a week to live, go live in Cleveland. It'll seem like a year before you die. So that's just the relationship that we had. So when I met John, he had that same kind of energy and being willing to just, throw it all up against the wall and see how much of it
We wrote a song together trying to say, if Roger Miller was in the room, what's something he might want to write with us? And I had this title called Ball to Less. And you go, what in the world does that mean? And it goes, they don't call it Kansas Town, they call it Kansas City. I don't think you're kind of cute, I think you're awful pretty. And I don't probably love you, I love you for sure. And they don't call it Ball to Less, they call it Baltimore. He's the closest thing to... Good Lord. One night we were out at his house, and he took, I don't know if I've told this story, we were in Tasuki out in Santa Fe, where he lived outside of Santa Fe. And he went in and he brought back this little shoebox. And in the shoebox, he had scraps of paper, so he takes out one. He says, trailers for sale. It's the piece of paper that he had the original idea for trailers for, King of the Road. Then he put that back in and took out a note and said, dang me. It was that piece of paper. Then he takes out another one and he decides to play the little Larry Gatlin one night stump. And he said, I'm still here because my tears feel right at home in Salt Lake City. He looked at me and I said, and if I keep on crying, I'll have a Salt Lake on my own. That's just a crazy relationship that we had together. So John is the closest thing I've seen to have that kind of mind that just, and I know you love him. I'll quit. What is the one that's got, you said has more words per square inch than any song in history? Yeah, so on the Dame album, there's a song called Private John Q. And that was my Papaw Rich's favorite song because it was about World War II guys, And it's got more words per square inch than any country song I've ever heard. So it was something I learned.
We're going to check you out. We're going to run this back and see how many words. So let's go. See.
Well, I read it in the paper and I see it on the television. Everybody's worried about a World War III. Here I am, a single boy, unemployed and everything. Somebody better stop and worry about me. Can't you just see me now, chin up, chest out, up, 2, 3, 4, all day through. Everybody seem to be worried about something other. Who's gonna worry about Private John Q?
That's my part.
When I was a little boy, I used to stop and dream of traveling to lots of foreign countries on a sightseeing tour. The way it's looking now, I could stop saving money, maybe go free, sponsored by Third World War. Can't you just see me now, chin up, chest out, up, 2, 3, 4, all day through. Everybody seem to be worried about something other. Who's gonna worry about Private John Q? Third verse. Sometimes I get disheartened, try not to even think about it. Heaven knows it's hard to keep on letting it get me down. But I'll stand proud when everybody else would be a running, jumping cover for the sugar underground. Can't you just see me now, chin up, chest out, up, 2, 3, 4, all day through. Everybody seem to be worried about something other. Who's gonna worry about Private John Q? Rum bum ba ba bum ba ba bum bum. Rum bum ba ba bum ba ba bum bum.
Yeah. And out of that,
like a machine gun.
Yeah, and out of that same mind, that same brain comes, it's my belief, pride is the chief cause in the decline, in the number of husbands and wives out of that same mind, that could do Private John Q. And then what I think is the greatest line ever written about a woman and a man breaking up, it's my belief pride is the chief cause in the decline. Roger. That's just how he was.
My favorite Roger Miller quote is, old songwriters never die, they just decompose. That, and there's another one, don't ever keep your change and your pills in the same pocket. One time I accidentally swallowed 26 cents.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Well, he also said, what did he say? What was I trying to think of? Oh, he said, what's that song? Does your conscience ever bother you, right? Roger walked up to me one night, he went, Dustin Hoffman ever bother you? He said, what he said, I've got half a mind to leave you, old Ernest Tubb, right? But only half the heart to go. So Roger said, I've got half a house to leave you, but only half the car to go. We could sit here,
Hey, Larry,
forever.
did he tell you the strongest man in the world? Well, I'll have to clean it up a little bit for the family reunion show, but Roger said that was the guy that grabbed himself by the seat of the pants and hold himself out at arm's length. That's strong. That's strong.
Well, when he was in the last kind of his final days, Willie went to see him, and he lived out on Pacific Coast Highway. It was close to the doctor. They were doing some homeopathic things and trying to kind of keep Glen. I've lost it now. Roger, kind of keep on the last fumes, keep the tank a little bit full. And so Roger and Willie are sitting out on the veranda out there, the apartment. They're looking out, the sun is going down. Beautiful Pacific Coast, Pacific Ocean, and the waves coming in. They can see Catalina Island. And Willie said, Roger said, this really beautiful, isn't it? Roger said, yeah, just think what God could have done if he'd had any money. That's just the way the boy thought. And I think God laughs at it because he gave him that kind of brain in the first place. So we miss him. But I'm glad to have my baby, my little brother here. We've had a great time. And like I say, John, I know from being with him, respects and appreciates. And that means something to me. When I came here and was a young guy, I tried to do that because that's how Mom and Daddy taught us we're supposed to be respectful. And he's done so much for me. And I love this young man. I think he's one of the great talents I've ever seen. My buddy John Ray's little brother.
And John, you're going to come back a little later on and do one of those Johnny Horton songs.
I'd love to do a Johnny
that
Horton.
You were talking
Yes,
about.
sir.
Yeah, we're going to save that
all right.
for a little bit later on. So hearing you do the Private John Q, I met Roger the first time when he was in the Army. He was stationed at Fort McPherson, Georgia, and I was working on a little radio station down there. And don't ever think, Larry, you, John, either one, don't think that all of this stuff was part of an act that Roger created. When Roger was 18 years old and in the Army, he was just like that. He was spouting off stuff. I remember taking him out to meet my mom and dad one time. And my mom and dad had a little, dachshund, a little dog, a little German dog. And the dog, Roger walks in the door, and the little dachshund jumps on Roger, and my dad yells, "Bruno, get down." And Roger looked at him and says, "Bruno? I wouldn't name a dog Bruno." Never met my folks before or anything. But,
One time he told me, he said, I got over you just long enough to let my heartaches mend. He said, I got over shoes just large enough to fit my next of kin. And today, Fred started wearing shoes again. And he'd say, get it, Fred Waring. I said, I got it. That's our boy.
yeah. Thank you, guys. That was
Thank you.
terrific.
Yeah, thanks for the
We'll have more. Where's T. Graham Brown?
Right here, baby.
There you are. You brought a special guest with you today.
I did. Miss Leona Williams. Yeah, I'm a lucky man. I've been doing some shows with Leona, and one night I was singing Big City. You know, Merle Haggard, she was married to Merle Haggard for a few years. God bless you. And so I was singing Big City, and I had my eyes closed, and I heard this voice. I looked around, it was her, because she sang harmony on the record, so it really made me feel good. And I was watching her show, and she's just sings so country and has such great songs that she wrote and great stories. I wanted to ask you, tell them about when you moved to Nashville, what you were doing and who you were working with. And
Well, before I moved to Nashville, I was a beautician in St. Louis, and I was working on 3 or 4 nights a week. I was playing a little band, you know, that we had. And so we went to see Teddy and Doll, the Wilburn brothers, and they had this beautiful girl with them named Loretta Lynn. She was just getting started, and we all got to go out to eat and everything later on, and Loretta said, if I ever make it, I'm going to help you kids. I was just a kid. I was 18 or something. Anyway, she wanted us to move to Tennessee. And she said, I'm starting my own band. And so, you know, a few months later, we moved to Nashville, and that's what got us started. And my kids' dad played drums, and I played upright bass in Loretta's first band called the Blue Kentuckians.
wow.
So that's what got me here. And then the first time I had a song recorded, Loretta recorded a song called Get What You Got and Go, and I'd co-written that.
What an honor for her to cut something, because she was a great songwriter.
Yes,
you know,
she was,
and,
yes. Very wonderful lady.
Yeah, she is sweet. Who else do you work with?
Well, you know, after I was with Loretta there for a while, I got my own record deal, so I started working the road, and one of the first trips I went on was with Lonzo and Oscar from the Grand Ole Opry. And we went on a 9-week tour of the Far East, entertaining the servicemen. And I feel like I'm kind of a veteran of all the things I've been through. So over there, and I got back, I was so proud to get back, and thankful, you know, and everything. And we had a wonderful trip and met so many people. And a few times at my show since then, I've met some of the guys that were stationed, they were over there, you know, in Vietnam or in that area, you know, and seen our show. So I wrote a song when I got back called Stand Up for America, and I'm fixing to have a new record out next week that's the title of. And anyways, Lonzo and Oscar was a lot of fun, you know, and so I did that, and then later on my records did good, and then as the time went on, Tammy Wynette recorded one of my songs, and this and that one, and then I met this guy named Merle. And I got married to Merle. I always say this all in fun, but Merle had heard my record of Yes Ma'am, He Found Me in a Honky Tonk. He heard my record of Once More, and he liked some of that stuff. So Ronnie Reno introduced me to Merle. Merle said, I want to meet her, because he especially liked Yes Ma'am, you know, and stuff. So anyways, I got to meet him, and then later he wanted me to join his shows and open some shows for him. And I always say this all in fun. We got to having too much fun, and we got married. But anyways, I was married to Merle. I was with him 9 years, but we were married close to 6 years.
You wrote a couple of hits for him, too.
I did. I wrote some album cuts, and also I wrote You Take Me for Granted. That was #1. And also Someday When Things Are Good.
Someday When Things Are Good. Oh, that's awesome. Well, you know what I liked? I loved Dave Kirby. I know you married him, and you were married until he passed away.
Yes.
And I was thinking, you know, he wrote Is Anybody Going to San Antonio?
Yes.
And then he gave Gene Watson a hit. He gave Gene Watson a song called Memories to Burn, and that was a big hit for Gene.
Yes, it was. He and Warren Robb wrote that together.
Yes, so that's just
great. He gave me more than one.
Yeah.
And I think I got to looking one day, I had one album that had like 5 Dave Kirby, Joe Allen, Warren Robb songs where they all worked together. But boy, they wrote some great stuff for me. In fact, Dave and Leona came to the studio one day when I was using my own band recording, and Dave sat in on guitar, and I talked Leona into singing harmonies with me on one of the albums.
That was it'll be Cold summer day in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
T, how about a song from you and then a song from Leona?
I'll do it, but I just want to say one more thing about Leona. I asked her to come. She is one of the coolest people I've ever met. And she's so sweet, but she's hip, I'm telling you. She was doing her sound check yesterday, and everybody was just listening to her and looking at her, you know, and looking at each other saying, man, because she's so good. But yeah, I'll sing one, and then she's gonna knock y'all out.
Rareback country, I guess.
I'm gonna
That's what they
sing,
call it.
pardon me, I had this song called Don't Go to Strangers, and let me get around here. By the way, this is very fun today. This is a cool thing. So I had this, got this song from Russell Smith, and Russell's a great writer. He's the guy that wrote Third Rate Romance, Low Rent Rendezvous, and sang it. And this would have been the #1 sound in about 1988, something like that. Kick it off back there, fellas. Closing down. One by one, the lights grow dim. I've been sitting here drinking and thinking about you out somewhere with him. He's just one of the many men you've tried. Still, you tell me you ain't satisfied. You want some love. Well, don't go to strangers. I've seen you out on the prowl like this, night after night after night. Out looking for love, but you settle for a kiss and unknown arms to hold you tight. Oh, but it seems no matter what you do, it never turns out like you want it to. You want some love, true love, love. If you want some love, honey, don't go to strangers. Your sweet love to someone you don't really want. You've told me everything, that's right, baby, and I'm much more than a confidant. 'Cause I'm the one you tell your troubles to. You've told me everything, but I love you. You want some love. Don't go to strangers. Oh, no. Don't go to strangers.
Big Graham Brown. Great job.
Thank y'all.
Great job, Chief. Why don't you escort Miss Leona Williams up
I'll be glad
to do her song?
I'll be glad.
Good job, Chief.
That
By
I
the way, she's been telling me.
hope I'm not going to get in trouble for asking her this.
She's been
and I'm
telling
sure it's
me
not
all
the
the-
first time she's been asked this. You mentioned the great song that Merle had the big hit on that Leona wrote, called "You Take Me for Granted," and I guess I just want to ask Leona if she really did. You write that? Were you trying to send Merle a message when you wrote the song?
Some of those things you just had to write, you know.
Some things you just had to write.
Just had to write. That's one of them. At the time, I'd been on a long trip, about 14 days or so, and it was like everybody was too busy to hardly speak, and you do everything you can, and they don't appreciate it, so you have to write something down. You know, I don't know how to explain that, but
I was just going to say, she's been told me all day yesterday and all day today, she is so thrilled to be here today.
yes, I am.
Well, we're thrilled to have you.
Yeah, that's
You are a true original.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Well,
and,
you're very welcome. Thanks for coming. Like I said, you're one of the coolest ones. How about getting up there and sing us one?
all right.
You know something else, T? Leona has got a son, Ron Williams,
know.
who is a terrific singer.
I know we've been doing some shows when Ron gets up there and sings. Ron's great.
Yeah, he really is.
He learned from a good one.
Mama teach him everything he knows.
Well, I tried my best, and I always tell him he's my big, tall, handsome, good-looking singer and all that stuff. You know? Son. Good singing son, whatever. But here's that song I wrote. Johnny Russell used to say, it made me a lot of money, and I spent it. It goes like this. My legs and my feet have walked till they can't hardly move from trying to please you. And my back is sore from bending over backwards to just lay the world at your door. And I'm trying hard to keep a smile on a sad face, while deep down it's breaking my heart. And as sure as the sun shines, I'll be a lifetime not knowing if I've done my part. 'Cause you take me for granted, and it's breaking my heart. And as sure as the sun shines, I'll be a lifetime not knowing if I've done my Cause you take me for granted, and it's breaking my heart. And as sure as the sun shines, I'll be a lifetime not knowing
Leona Williams. Thank you so much for that great song, and thank you for being here today. We're going to pause on a standing ovation, take a little break, and we'll be back with more Family Reunion right after this.